Click. Oh. Foxy001XD has been here for 2 whole years. Yo! What a way to start a stream. Hello everybody, I'm looking for some samurai kind of music because I'm in a samurai kind of mood. If you guys would help me vote here, shall we study samurai? Number 1, yes, obviously. Or number 2, no, let's study samurai instead. How's it going everybody? Charlotte Art, welcome back for 14 months. Hello, Luxum92, thanks for using your Prime. Welcome. Good to see you. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's going to be me today, just me. Amelia and I thought we could pull off a double whammy of recording auditions in the morning and also getting to the studio, and here is one of those moments where things are a little different because we're in this new space. So it is possible Amelia joins, but I told her to focus on her audition and to crush it, and I think you guys are with me. And, all right, look, so we should study samurai instead of samurai. Very good. Guinea Bees, how you doing? Welcome back for 10 months. Kira Evisi, thank you for being here for 4 months. So I don't know what's going to classify as samurai Japanese lo-fi hip-hop mix, but I'm really tempted. So let's see what this music is all about, and if it just doesn't make any sense, we won't use it. Here we go. Okay, and we're gonna need to do this. Samurai lo-fi hip-hop? What do you guys think? Not sure if that's a genre. Well, I mean, here we are. Can you guys hear it? It's a little quiet, huh? How about that? All right, we're studying samurai, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all expressions. Let's do it. So far, sounds good. Okay, cool. So I'm going to put up a little notice here. How's everybody doing in this fine time zone? It is early in the morning for us. Not that early, but it's early. You kind of feeling it, April? All right, sweet. Roger Butler with the cheers. Good luck to Amelia for show. And Yuki, how you doing, Yuki? Welcome back for 3 months. Right on. All right. Now we're going to put up a little thing that says today's subject is samurai. You guys have been playing so much Ghost of Tsushima, and maybe that's a good idea for another poll. Real quick, before we get like too far into samurai, bonus stream tonight. Ghost of Tsushima. Yes, do it at 6 p.m. Pacific. Nah. Let me know. Number 1 in the chat if tonight we should do a bonus stream of Ghost of Tsushima. Maybe some photo mode, maybe some adventuring, maybe some hunting. Or number 2 if it's not your speed. Today's subject is samurai, and now we're gonna find some fun facts. Oh, thank you guys for all your lovely messages for Amelia. I appreciate that. Asian-inspired lo-fi is great. You're digging this, Re3? I'm glad you do. Me too, actually. Honestly, this is... I would have never clicked on this button if we didn't do this stream. Yep. Yeah, we try to stick to the schedule as much as we can. 6 p.m. Pacific is... It's a little late for a lot of you guys, but it's 8 hours. Yeah, Amelia's just working on an audition. And we can't be in 2 places at the same time. So it's 10 a.m. right now. So we would do this tonight. That'd be 8 hours late. 8 hours later than it is. Thank you, MJs, for the audio check. I really appreciate those. And here's the link if anybody wants to listen on their own to some Japanese-inspired lo-fi hip-hop. Copy hippity-hop. That's for you. A little bit of this. There we go. All right, it's official. I'll tweet about it after the stream is over. You're voting for it even though you can't be there later? That's totally fine. We're still going to do it. 95% is a strong percentage. All right. So do you guys want to go like history of samurai? I feel like, or, you know, a lot of times we're looking for like top 10 unusual facts, like things that people don't really know. Do you guys want to have more of a, you know, history lesson? Because samurai are just so cool. There's so many ways we could do this. So we could go like interesting top 10. Interesting top 10 facts. Really? Hey, you. You got here a lot faster than I expected. How did it go, your audition, your recording?
It was good. It was good.
Sweet.
Not too tricky.
Well, everybody gave you a lot of love and hype. I told them we were trying to, like, figure it out as we go, and we just had to split. So number 1 for interesting top 10 facts, and number 2 for history.
Hello, everybody. Happy time zone.
Olivia Rose Goldilocks, thank you for the big cheers. Hype for some ghosts tonight. Yeah, I announced them that... Are you going to get some new glasses? Awesome. I wish I could get some new glasses right now, guys. I got to order some. Woo!
Ooh, so what's So today's topic is samurai.
Samurai.
Why am I not surprised?
Asunta, are you ready to avenge the samurai? I love it. I love Ghost of Tsushima so much. I play this game pretty much, it's like all I do. Asunta! 19 months, yo. And Huey, welcome back for 4, my friend. All right, so we're going to split it up, but we'll start with history. That's a very, very good place to start. For the first 57% of the stream, we'll look at the history of samurai. And then we'll get into some top 10 facts. All right, history. And Dilger, thank you for the gift sub. Cuddly Annie, welcome back for 22 months. Glad you can be here with us.
Hey, Bree3, thank you for cheering. And Shoto Saki, welcome and thank you for subscribing.
All right, I'm going to go to history.com. I love the History Channel. I feel like we got to go with an accredited source. So
Of course.
here's the link. And Amelia, what do you think of this music we found together? This is Japanese lo-fi hip-hop mix.
It's really, really chill.
Isn't that good?
Yeah.
It's like my total jam right now. There we go. There we go. I love you, Amelia. Okay. Boom. Let's add a browser source. This is where it gets tricky in streaming.
Shinobu, thank you for cheering. And Nocturnal Druid is back for 2 months.
Hey, Nocturnal. Thank you for chilling with us.
Yeah. And Natal Ja is back for 9 months. That is a Twitch baby.
Raise it up right. Teach it to vote. All right, so we're going to put these two together, the samurai and the bushido. Studying the history on historychannel.com and or history.com. And our moderators are going to sprinkle this link every now and then as we study. The samurai, members of a powerful military caste in feudal Japan, began as provincial warriors before rising to power in the 12th century with the beginning of the country's first military dictatorship, known as the shogunate. As survivors of the daimyos, or great lords. Oh, as servants. That's an important distinction. As servants of the daimyos, or great lords, the samurai backed up the authority of the shogun and gave him power over the Mikado, emperor. So, this is a big damn deal. These feudal lords are in charge and responsible for huge tracts of land. So we see a similar sort of thing happen in Europe and Eastern Europe, where there are lords of areas of land, that they have so much land that they have peasants, villagers who are working there, and they're allowed to live there, but of course they have to pay a percentage of their yield on the land back to the feudal lord. So these guys are servants, but military servants, enforcers, kind of like bodyguards in a way. The samurai would dominate Japanese government and society until the Meiji Restoration of 1868. By the way, if I'm mispronouncing any of these names and you know more about Japanese history than I do, please feel free to type it out phonetically in the chat. Choo choo, thank you for the hype on the hype train, you guys.
Yes.
Just Jessica, welcome back. 20 months, yo.
Yes.
And Chino and Blue Apple Pie. Blue Sky Apple Pie. Thanks for being here with your prime. So we're talking 1868. These Japanese government-led samurai would lead the abolition of the feudal system.
Wow.
So they'd eventually replace the system that began them. Despite being deprived of their traditional privileges, many of the samurai would enter the elite ranks of politics and industry in modern Japan. More importantly, the traditional samurai code of honor, discipline, and morality, known as Bushido, or the Way of the Warrior, was revived and made the basic code of conduct for much of Japanese society. Well.
Wow.
Well. Now, playing Ghost of Tsushima, you have a bit of a choice. You can be an honorable fighter where you walk to the open gates of the Mongol camp and say, "Who will fight me? Show me your skill." Or you can sneak around in the bushes and just whoosh, headshot. That's my life. I like sneaking in the bushes. A little less honor that way, but, it works. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit because I think the text could be a little bigger for you guys. Early samurai. So you guys have asked to start at the beginning, so let's do it. Samurai in space. During the Heian period, from 794 to 1185, the samurai were the armed supporters of wealthy landowners, many of whom left the imperial court to seek their own fortunes after being shut out of power by the powerful Fujiwara clan. The samurai sword. I'm sorry, you guys, hold on, I need a sip of coffee. When you're reading the word samurai as the samurai sword, you're either obsessed with samurai swords or you're not drinking enough coffee. Let me just take a little.
Or a little of both.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of milk and sugar in my coffee. Good to go. The word samurai roughly translates to those who serve. Another, more general word for warrior is bushi, from which Bushido is derived. This word lacks the connotation of service to the master. And does anybody else have an unhealthy samurai sword obsession? It's so cool, guys. All I'm doing is I'm just grinding for these resources and upgrading my sword, and it is a lethal. It's almost a lightsaber. It's that good. Yo, Leslie, Radrotti, thank you for being here for 20 months.
20 months.
Yo, that's right. Oh, you say 15? No, it's 20.
Yeah, we see it next to your
We
name.
see it. It tells us what's up. And Mias is here for 16 months. Hello, thank you for joining. It's good to see you. It's fun to say your name. All right. So the Bushi is more about warrior without the connotation of master.
Yes.
And
Did you know? The wealth of a samurai in feudal Japan was measured in terms of koku. One koku was supposed to be the amount of rice it took to feed one man for a year. It was equivalent to around 180 liters.
good to know.
Good to know.
Beginning in the mid-12th century, real political power in Japan shifted gradually away from the emperor and his nobles in Kyoto to the heads of the clans of the largest estates in the country. The Genpei War of 1180 to 1185, a 5-year-long war, pitted two of these great clans, the dominant Taira and the Minamoto, against each other in a struggle for control of the Japanese state. The war ended when one of the most famous samurai heroes in Japanese history, Minamoto Yoshitsune. Anybody know that name more familiar than me? Minamoto Yoshitsune. That's my best guess. A lot of these Japanese words, you can kind of phonetically sound them out, but names can be tricky. He led his clan to victory against the Taira near the village of Den no Ora. All right. Rise of the Samurai and Kamakura period. The triumphant leader, Minamoto Yoritomo, his half-brother, this is the half-brother of Yoshitsune, whom drove into exile the established center of government at Kamakura. The establishment of Kamakura shogunate? Somebody here, please. Where's my Japanese history major? Oh no, we're streaming too early for Japan. Japan's in the middle of the night right now. They're sleeping. They're gonna wake up and be like, "This is not our history. We don't." They went to great lengths to establish and define the samurais. Oh, shogunate. Thank you, Chibi. Shogunate. You guys got it. All right, sweet. Appreciate that, Black Wolf. Thank you. Zen Buddhism, introduced into Japan from China around this time, held a great appeal for many samurai. Its austere and simple rituals, as well as the belief that salvation would come from within, provided an ideal philosophical background for the samurai's own code of behavior. Also, during the Kamakura period, the sword came to have a great significance in samurai culture. A man's honor was said to reside in his sword, and the craftsmanship of swords, including carefully hammered blades, gold and silver inlays, and shark skin hand grips, became an art in itself. Whoa. Whoa. Kamakura. Right on. Thank you, Nocturnal. Kamakura. So if you had a samurai sword and your honor rested within, would you decorate it in some fine way? What would your samurai sword look like? Would it have gold and silver inlaid? Would it have a shark skin hand grip? Would it have a hilt of some precious metal or gorgeous wood? Or what would your samurai sword be made of?
Well, mine would definitely have some turquoise.
I think yours would be turquoise with opals.
Yeah, with some kind of gemstones for sure. A purple heart, a silver inlay with black wraps.
Ooh, these are beautiful
Rose
ideas.
Gold inlays.
Made of chocolate scree? That's very honorable.
Gold sword. Some cool engravings. Sakura on it. Black and silver. Jade with some gold.
Ooh, beautiful.
Self-made wood.
Oh, you'd have a black one, simple black. Cool.
An emerald somewhere. Wood with pretty carvings.
Gold for you, Thunder Connor, huh? And black and gold, light purple with translucent glass.
Ooh.
Whoa, carbon fiber blade. Ooh.
Really cool.
Black and white.
Wood handles with flowers.
You guys, these are beautiful ideas. I can imagine all of them in my mind.
Something with rubies. A Hello Kitty style. White or green.
An
pink.
opal sword.
Opals.
An emerald, silver. You guys, this is great.
Garnet and obsidian.
These are great. Black with red diamonds. Whoa.
Rainbow.
All right, these are some awesome ideas, and they reflect your personality, I can see. Dark blue and black and turquoise and black. Yeah, I feel like I can see what kind of samurai you'd be. You'd make yours out of Minecraft. Japan in chaos. The Ashikaga shogunate. The strain of defeating two Mongol invasions at the end of the 13th century, which, by the way, is where the story of Ghost of Tsushima takes place, weakened the Kamakura shogunate, which fell to a rebellion led by Ashikaga Takauji. The Ashikaga shogunate, centered in Kyoto, began around 1336. For the next 2 centuries, Japan was in a near constant state of conflict between its feuding territorial clans. After the particularly divisive Onin War of 1467 to 77, so a 10-year-long war,
Wow.
the Ashikaga shogun ceased to be effective, and feudal Japan lacked a strong central authority. Local lords and their samurai stepped in to a greater extent to maintain law and order. So after the central government of Japan fell apart during these wars and was no longer able to sustain itself, these samurai step in. They hold the peace. They maintain some order. Despite the political unrest, this period, known as the Muromachi, after the district of that name in Kyoto, so there's an area of Kyoto called Muromachi, it saw considerable economic expansion in Japan. It was also a golden age for Japanese art, as the samurai culture came under the growing influence of Zen Buddhism. In addition to such now famous Japanese art forms as the tea ceremony, rock gardens, and flower arranging, theater, and painting, they also flourished during the Muromachi period. That's one really cool thing. You can write a haiku in Ghost of Tsushima. We've pet some foxes.
Oh, yeah.
Perhaps what art form would your samurai partake?
I would befriend all the foxes and I'd become an animal whisperer.
You'd be the animal whispering samurai?
Yes.
That's a beautiful idea.
And then they'd all come out at once.
Yo.
For aid.
I like the idea of a painting samurai or a poetry writing samurai is a nice idea. You write some, you can write haikus in Ghost of Tsushima. It's really cool. It's a really interesting mix of like action and just chilling. Hey Shinra Dog, welcome back for 7 months. Welcome to our Samurai Curiosity Chill. We're gonna look into the history of samurai for a little bit, and then we're gonna look up some fun facts. You'd practice Zen Buddhism, the tea ceremony. That was one of your favorite scenes, huh?
Wood block prints. Yes.
Calligraphy, there you go.
Flower arrangement.
You could be a cuddling samurai, sure. The Sengoku Jidai, or period of the country at war, finally ended in 1615 with the unification of Japan under Tokugawa Ieyasu. Anybody got pronunciation on that? Tokugawa seems okay. Ieyasu? This period ushered in a 250-year-long stretch of peace and prosperity, longer than we've in the States been a country. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
I know.
Like, there's so many civilizations that are so much more advanced than what we got going on here in the States. This is a pretty recent experiment. 250-year-long stretch of peace and prosperity in Japan. Ieyasu.
So the L is silent.
Ah, okay. Ieyasu. Sweet. Thank you guys for the help on pronunciation. It is not my native tongue. Puppet Cur, maybe a little after, depending on ambient noise. Ieyasu issued the ordinances for the military houses, by which samurai were told to train equally in arms and polite learning, according to the principles of Confucianism. This relatively conservative faith, with its emphasis on loyalty and duty, eclipsed Buddhism during the Tokugawa period as the dominant religion of the samurai. It was during this period that the principles of Bushido emerged as a general code of conduct for the Japanese people in general. Though Bushido varied under the influences of Buddhist and Confucian thought, its warrior spirit remained constant, including an emphasis on military skills and fearlessness in the face of the enemy. Okay, so I gotta stop running away from battles. Bushido also emphasized fragility, which means to not overspend and use up all of your resources, kindness, honesty and care for one's family members, particularly one's elders.
Respect for the elders.
I think you guys would all be a very respectful group of samurai. For sure. For sure. In a peaceful Japan, many samurai were forced to become bureaucrats or take up some kind of trade, even as they preserved their conception of themselves as fighting men. In 1588, the right to carry swords was restricted only to samurai, which created an even greater separation between them and the farmer peasant class. So you're like, that guy even has a sword? Gotta be a samurai.
Yeah.
The samurai during this period became the two-sword man, wearing both a short and long sword as a mark of his privilege. The material well-being of many samurai actually declined during the Tokugawa shogunate, however. Samurai had traditionally made their living on a fixed stipend from landowners. As these stipends declined, many lower-level samurai were frustrated by their inability to improve their situation.
That makes sense.
So they were a hired hand, you know, and if things aren't going so well for the feudal lord that is in charge of all the land you're there to protect, then, you know, how you gonna get paid? But you get to rock around two swords.
The Meiji Restoration and the end of feudalism. In the mid-19th century, the stability of the Tokugawa regime was undermined by a combination of factors, including peasant unrest due to famine and poverty, the incursion of Western power into Japan, and especially the arrival of 1853 Commodore Matthew Perry of the U.S. Navy on a mission to get Japan to open its doors to international trade, proved to be the final straw. In 1858, Japan signed a commercial treaty with the United States, followed by similar ones with Russia, Britain, Holland, and France. This controversial decision to open the country to Western commerce and investment helped encourage resistance to the shogunate among conservative forces in Japan, including many samurai who began calling for restoration of the power of the emperor.
We like it better with the emperor. It was more fun when we were like fancy samurai. Why are you guys knocking us down like this?
The powerful clans of Choshu and Satsuma combined efforts to topple the Tokugawa shogunate and announce an imperial restoration named for Emperor Meiji in early 1868. Feudalism was officially abolished in 1871. 5 years later, the wearing of swords was forbidden to anyone except members of the National Armed Forces, and all samurai stipends were converted into government bonds, often at significant financial loss. The new Japanese National Army squashed several samurai rebellions during the 1870s, while some disgruntled samurai joined secret ultra-nationalist societies, among them the notorious Black Dragon Society, whose object was to incite trouble in China so that the Japanese army would have an excuse to invade and preserve order. Ironically, given the loss of their privileged status, the Meiji Restoration was actually engineered by members of the samurai class itself. 3 of the most influential leaders of the new Japan, Inoue, Karu, Ito Hirobumi, and Yamagata Arimoto, had studied with the famous samurai Yoshida Soin, who was executed after a failed attempt to kill a Tokugawa official in 1859.
Ooh.
Failed attempt, that sucks. It was former samurai who put Japan on the road to what it would become, and many would become leaders in all areas of modern Japanese society.
Which brings us to the present before we jump into some fun facts about samurai. Bushido in modern Japan. In the wake of the Meiji Restoration, Shinto was made the state religion of Japan. Unlike Confucianism, Buddhism, and Christianity, it was wholly Japanese, and Bushido was adopted as its ruling moral code. By 1912, Japan had succeeded in building up its military strength. It signed an alliance with Britain in 1902 and defeated the Russians in Manchuria 2 years later, as well as its economy. By the end of World War I, the country was recognized as one of the Big Five powers along with Britain, the US, France, and Italy at Versailles Peace Conference. The liberal cosmopolitan 1920s gave way to the revival of Japan's military tradition of the 1930s, leading directly to imperial aggression and Japan's entrance into World War II. During that conflict, Japanese soldiers brought antique samurai swords into battle and used suicidal banzai attacks according to the Bushido principles of death before dishonor or defeat. At war's end, Japan again drew on its strong sense of honor, discipline, and devotion to a common cause, not to the daimyos or shoguns of the past, but the emperor and the country, in order to rebuild itself and re-emerge as one of the world's greatest economic and industrial powers in the later 20th century. Here's some photos that we can check out. Here's a gallery. This is an illustration depicting the founder of the Tokugawa shogunate hiding in a locust pond during a rebellion.
Ooh. Wow.
These are 6 Shinto priests at the Toshugo Shrine. Priests stand outside of the shrine, a final resting place of Japan's first shogun. I'm going to expand this a little bit because the picture is actually a little taller than you can see. There we go. Something is not right with this photo viewer. Very good. We will switch over to 10 facts about samurai. For those of you who want the history, there's a brief introduction to it, and here is a little bit of just fun facts about samurais to rock us out. Let's start here.
So, they are known as bushi in Japan, in Japanese. The samurai were known as bushi in Japan, or buke. Am I saying that right? Buke? The term samurai only began to appear in the first part of the 10th century, originally used to detonate the aristocratic warriors.
Denote.
We
don't want to detonate. Okay.
Bouquet.
Okay. So, yeah. Bouquet. These are the aristocratic warriors. And Coral Gecko Art, welcome back for 28 months, my friend. Look at that. 28 months. That's crazy. That's one of our longest subscribers on the channel.
Detonate, yeah, you know where my mind's at.
Yeah.
Okay, originally used to denote the aristocratic warriors. What was the one that you said? You said something.
Doesn't matter. Keep reading.
Okay. By the end of the 12th century, samurai became almost entirely synonymous with bushi.
Yo, and thank you, Leslie Red Roddy.
Thank you.
Thank you for the gift sub group hug. We appreciate that very much.
Bushi is used to denote a warrior who may or may not be a samurai. The word samurai was closely associated with the middle and upper echelons of the warrior class, who trained as officers in military tactics and grand strategy. The term would be used to apply to all members of the warrior class that rose to power in the 12th century and dominated the Japanese government until the Meiji Restoration.
And as we know, they followed a code called Bushido. Look at this beautiful depiction here. Look at that armor, so intricate. And it looks like he's holding on to the head of somebody.
Yep.
This man crossed a samurai, so he had to samurai. Hey guys, by the way, Jade's got a little samurai pun for it. Why do samurai fight to the death? To sort out their problems. Bushido means way of the warrior. The samurai followed an unwritten code of conduct, later formalized as Bushido, loosely comparable to the European code of chivalry. Developed from the 16th century, Bushido required that a samurai practice obedience, skill, self-discipline, self-sacrifice, bravery, and honor. All right, so which one of these sticks out to you as something that's very easy for you? You know, what comes naturally to you? Or something that can be very difficult for you? Maybe you're a very honorable person, but it's difficult for you to be brave. Or maybe you feel like you're a very disciplined person, but it's difficult for you to self-sacrifice. To wrap up all of these very complex behaviors in one practice is quite a load.
Quite a feat for sure.
The ideal samurai would be a stoic warrior who followed this code, which held bravery, honor, and personal loyalty above life itself.
Yo. They were an entire social class. Originally, samurai was defined as those who serve in close attendance to the nobility. In time, it evolved and became associated with the bushi class, particularly middle and upper tier soldiers. In the early part of the Tokugawa period, 1603 to 1876, the samurai became a closed caste as part of a larger effort to freeze and stabilize the social order. Although they were still allowed to wear the two swords that were emblematic of their social position, most samurai were forced to become civil servants or take up certain trade. At their peak, up to 10% of Japan's population were samurai. Today, every Japanese person is said to have at least some samurai blood in them.
So cool.
Whoa.
So I know the time zones make it tricky, but if anyone is here from Japan right now, or perhaps you're Japanese living in another time zone, do you know that you are partial samurai? And therefore, in my opinion, samurai? Hey, whoa there, Vero. Enjoy working on the vampire play. That's a lot of fun.
Ooh, very exciting.
Yo, thank you for the cheers. And Deeks Damon Dean, welcome back for 6 months. Number 4, they are synonymous with their swords. As we talked about everybody's intricate sword, the samurai used a range of weapons. However, their main original weapon was the sword, known as shokuto. It was a slimmer, smaller version of a straight sword later used by medieval knights. As sword-making techniques progressed, and I love this illustration up here, such beautiful, beautiful lines. As sword-making techniques progressed, the samurai would switch to curved swords, which eventually evolved into the katana. The most iconic of samurai weapons, the katana, was usually carried with a smaller blade in a pair called a daisho. The daisho was a symbol used exclusively by the samurai class. The samurai would name their swords. Bushido dictated that a samurai's soul was in his katana. So if your soul was in your katana, what would you name it?
Ooh.
I would name mine Carl. This is Whoa there, Vero. What up?
Oh,
Thank you for the gift sub
thank
group
you
hug.
so
We
much,
appreciate
friend.
that.
Appreciate you.
All right. Amelia, what would you name your you'd name it Miyazaki? Oh no, you love Miyazaki, yeah.
I don't know. That's a big question. What would I name my soul?
Right? You're gonna name your soul in your katana. And here, speaking of weapons, I know a lot of you guys wanted to get into this. They fought with a variety of other weapons. Here's samurai in armor, holding from left to right a yumi, right? This must be a yumi.
It looks like a bow. Very long bow.
Looks like a very long bow. A katana in the middle. And a yari. Looks like a spear.
Spear, yep. Besides their swords, the samurai would often use the yumi, a long boy. A long boy.
It's a long boy.
Long boy. A long bow they religiously practiced with. They would also use the yari, a Japanese spear. When gunpowder was introduced in the 16th century, the samurai abandoned their bows in favor of firearms and cannons. The Tanegashima, a long-distance flintlock rifle, became the weapon of choice among Edo-era samurai and their footmen. Yeah, long boy, long bows. Say that 10 times. Long boy, long bow. Long boy, long bow. Long boy, long bow. Whoa, look at this. Their armor was highly functional. Unlike the clunky armor worn by European knights, the samurai armor was designed for mobility. The samurai armor had to be sturdy yet flexible enough to allow free movement on the battlefield. Made of lacquered plates of either metal or leather, the armor would be carefully bound together by laces of either silk or leather. The arms would be protected by large rectangular shoulder shields and light armored sleeves. So this, yeah. The right hand would sometimes be left without a sleeve to allow for maximum movement. The samurai helmet, called a kabuto, was made of riveted metal plates, while the face and brow were protected by a piece of armor that tied around behind the head and under the helmet. The kabuko often featured ornaments and attachable pieces, such as demonic masks, that protected the face and would be used to intimidate the enemy. Ooh, so
That's
these were
so cool.
very, very flexible, unlike the European ones.
Yeah, and honestly, I would much rather wear that kind of light layered armor than. Can you imagine wearing giant heavy metal armor?
No.
I mean, like a knight's armor. Oh wow. They were highly literate and cultured. The samurai were far more than just warriors. As the essential nobility of their era, the majority of samurai were extremely well educated. Bushido dictated that samurai strived to better himself in a multitude of ways, including those outside combat. Samurai were generally highly literate and skilled in mathematics. The samurai culture produced a great number of uniquely Japanese arts, such as this tea ceremony, the rock gardens, and flower arranging that we talked about earlier. They studied calligraphy and literature, wrote poetry, and produced ink paintings.
Oh, there were female samurai warriors. Yes, there were. Although samurai was strictly a masculine term, the Japanese bushi class did include women who received the same training in martial arts and strategy as samurai. Samurai women were referred to as onna bugaisha and fought in combat alongside male samurai.
All right, okay.
Yeah, let's check this lady out.
And we see a lot in Ghost of Tsushima. We're seeing some badass ladies.
She is badass. Look at that. Look at that sword.
Yo.
Wielding naginata. The weapon of choice of the onna bugisha was the naginata, a spear with a curved sword-like blade that was versatile and relatively light.
Look at that thing. Okay, so this is a different kind of samurai sword. You like this, huh?
I do. Recent archaeological evidence indicates that Japanese women participated frequently in battles. DNA tests conducted at the site of the 1580 Battle of Senbon Matsubaru showed that 35 out of that 105 bodies were female.
That's a third. That's
And
incredible.
that's only of the ones who died.
That's a good point. Foreigners could become samurai, so there's hope for the rest of us, everybody that's not Japanese native born. Under special circumstances, an individual from outside of Japan. Where are you guys tuning in from right now? What kind of other pseudo-samurai do we have with us? I got it. Under special circumstances, an individual from outside Japan could fight alongside the samurai. So we could have a German samurai, or a Scottish samurai, a French samurai, a German again. A lot of Germany. Hello, a Tennessee. Yeah, there we go. Who you guys didn't know that the Tennessee had a samurai, one or two? The Swiss samurai,
Finnish samurai.
a Danish samurai, a Hungarian samurai. Sweet. A Canadian, a Floridian samurai. In some rare cases, okay, they could fight alongside the samurai and even become one. This special honor could only be bestowed by powerful leaders such as the shogun or the territorial lord. There are 4 European men who are recorded to having gained the samurai status. An English sailor named William Adams, his Dutch colleague Jan Justin van Lodenstein, the French Navy officer Eugene Collet, and the arms dealer Edward Schnell. Love it. Edward Schnell is not a name I usually think of when I think of samurai names, but I like it a lot. And Jan Justin van Lodenstein, that, my friends, is a samurai name. And last but not least, seppuku was an elaborate process. Seppuku was the act of ritual suicide by disembowelment, seen as a respected and honorable alternative to dishonor and defeat. It could either be a punishment or a voluntary act performed by a samurai if he failed to follow Bushido or faced capture by the enemy. Wow. The battlefield version and the normal version. Oh! Well, seppuku seems like a good place to end the stream. And you guys, that was a lot of fun to study samurai.
Yeah.
I think we should have this lady
Yeah.
up right here.
She's my favorite.
Looking good. So we've got some awesome raid options, and we appreciate you guys all being here with us for our Curiosity Chill. We do these most Tuesday mornings at the same time, where we pull a subject to study about together. And thank you guys for rolling with my samurai whim right now. I'm just kind of in a samurai headspace.